Mississippi. And I see we've got our technology working. So if you're over at supertalktv.com or over at supertalk.fm/watch, you will see that I am not alone. I am joined with Miss Lola Phillips. She is your 2022 Mississippi Miss Agriculture USA. Hey, Lola.
Hey,
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you too.
All righty, let's talk about the Mississippi Miss Agriculture pageant. I feel like this is one that maybe I hadn't heard of before, but I can see where it has its significance. So how did you find yourself to the pageant?
Actually, I found it through Facebook, which was really funny. It was really small in Mississippi, which is why most people haven't heard of it. It was completely online because it is so small. We didn't have room to do an actual pageant.
Okay, now you've got my interest, Lola. So how do you even prepare for a pageant that's fully virtual? How does that even work?
Well, it was like kind of like a job application almost. So I've actually done pageants with rodeos before. So I was fully expecting a whole different experience, but it was them asking me what I knew about agriculture and what I did in agriculture and all that good stuff and what I wanted to do for agriculture. And it was basically just what can you do? What do you want to do? And then they went through the applications and picked a candidate.
Well, that has to be, a different way of getting a crown. I would have to say. Now, I was stalking some of your Facebook earlier, Lola, and I see that you have been rooted in, I guess, the rodeo as well as agriculture for a while. So what is your background with getting into the rodeo or getting into farm families?
So actually, my grandparents own a cattle farm, but way back when, my grandfather used to train horses before he was in a horse accident, and he now has a completely metal hip, but he was really good. And I started looking through these pictures when I was like 13, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. I was like, I have to do this. And it was really crazy because they had completely gotten out of the horse scene. I hadn't like seen a horse or done anything, so it was completely new to me, and it was just a lot of fun, and I felt like I was reliving it through him in a way.
Well, it looks like a lot of fun. And we know that agriculture here in Mississippi is the number one industry. I mean, without a farmer, none of us would be able to enjoy all of the festive goodies that we take for granted every day, not to mention just getting up and having our breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But from your perspective, now that you're wearing the crown of Mississippi's Miss Agriculture, what does ag mean to the Magnolia State?
Oh my gosh. It's definitely changed a lot in my eyes, especially with the crown, because I've met so many people, and like agriculture is community in my eyes, because agriculture is like in everything, the little bitty things. I've gone to farmers markets, I've gone to family farms and talked to people, and just seeing all this, and it's like it just holds such a big like heart, like it really does. It's like a person, and it has this amazing like love for everything. There's really no other way to describe it other than community and just full of love.
I agree, and I think you can attest it yourself. You said you've been out there to many of the farm families of Mississippi and seen it firsthand. But oftentimes the myth around it for me is they think just it's all big corporate farming. It's just all these big factory farms, when that can be further from the truth, at least not here in Mississippi. For most of our farm families, they're still very modest size, family owned and operated, just, put one foot in front of the other to put food on their table. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. There are big corporate things, obviously, but really looking at it in Mississippi, from my view, it's so family oriented. Like, there are so many, like, small businesses and small family farms that they're everywhere. And it's crazy to see it. And they work together. It's, like, really cool.
What will be your primary role as Mississippi's Miss Agriculture?
So, my primary role as Miss Agriculture will be to promote agriculture. So to tell more people what it's all about. So basically to change that it's all corporate mindset and show them the real, like, this is what we do, this is like the most down to earth part of it, these are the basics, this is what happens. And I'm here to show everybody that and to promote all these small businesses and agriculture as a whole.
And I think you have a good job ahead of you coming up in 2022. So, do you get to ride on a big tractor?
I do, mostly just at my own house. I do get to ride on a very large truck through some parades, though, that has my name on the side of it. So I'm super excited about that.
Well, if we want to get more young women excited about maybe the opportunities of doing the Mississippi Miss Agriculture pageant, because I know you mentioned it was small, how do we get people to look into it, to see about the 2022 pageant?
So my idea was to go
You know what,
to.
Lola? Hang with us. We'll get that and more coming up next here on Good Things. We got our guest, Miss Lola Phillips, tickled as well. She's your 2022 Mississippi Miss Agriculture USA, which I guess have we always, how long has this pageant been in Mississippi, Lola?
Not very long, just for about 2 or 3 years.
So this is something new, up and coming, and I had asked earlier on Good Things, how do we get the word out? Obviously, this is a way to other young women to maybe take part in the pageant, because I think there are a lot of young girls who are connected with farm families that would love to have the opportunity to be the ag advocate for our state. So you had some ideas around that. So how are you looking to maybe use your reign as a way to grow the pageant?
So my first idea is obviously social media. One of the biggest things we have going for us right now. It's a great asset for me. So I post all the time, 24/7. I have an Instagram for Miss Ag. And then also I go to a lot of events like parades and fairs, and I'll stand out in the crowd and I'll talk to as many people that will come up to me and I'll tell them all they want to know about it. So ask me questions, absolutely. And I do believe that I'm assigned to go to some schools to talk. So there's also that. But the
I
main
think
thing is social media.
And I think it's good too, just to get our young girls having this idea that they can be advocates for ag. I mean, I know that barrier is being broken. Talking about Miss within agriculture, I think that's another one, that girls can't be farmers or aren't farmers as much as maybe the male counterparts. And I think seeing, more advocates out there like they're saying you can go into farming. It's important. We couldn't be here without those type of jobs. I mean, growing up as a farm family, Lola, I mean, would you ever thought that, girls couldn't do rodeos or do farming too?
Oh, absolutely not. But that was a big thing in my family. My grandfather definitely made it very clear. He was like, you can do this, like, this is your thing. So, but I have heard a lot of things that, like, it's a man's world. It's not. It's definitely like we equally share this. Move over, boys. We're coming in.
Move over, boys. Well, now that you've got the technology with a lot of the different machinery and things being more advanced and fancier, I guess you could say, girls don't have to have the muscle power that, boys used to have on the farm to do a day's work. We can get in there with the best of them and do it as well. But I think everyone should be inspired if they have sort of a love of farming or agriculture to sort of move in that direction. Not to mention all the other jobs when it comes to those technology. It may not actually be working on the farm, but within the agricultural community that are there and available. So, Lola, why do you think it is so important to have an advocate? I mean, why is it so important that we do have a Mississippi Miss Agriculture USA to represent this industry?
Well, the way that I think about it, it's kind of like high school having a mascot. Like you put a face to the name kind of thing. Like it's not such a broad concept when you have this one thing to look at. So I think it's really cool that I got chosen to be there to look at to tell people like this is what's going on. And so I think it's really important so it's not like so mind-blowingly large, it kind of shrinks it and makes it easier to look at.
I totally agree. Well, if you are ever Miss Lola out in the central Mississippi area, you'll have to stop by and say hi in person. Is there a list or a way we can keep up with your appearances across Mississippi over the upcoming year?
There is not a list, but you can absolutely follow me on Instagram. I will be posting about all of my appearances beforehand and during.
And what's the handles?
My personal handle is Cherry Lola Cola. And then let me double check my agriculture Instagram so I can 100% give it to you. So it's Miss Mississippi Miss Agriculture.
Probably
Ah,
USA. Well, while you're looking at
yes,
that,
ma'am,
Lola,
USA.
we had a text message come in from Jeff in Oxford who said that Lola is a very well spoken young lady. She's a great representative for agriculture and the state. So that should give you a good send off into your holiday weekend. And as well as I think, too, to a hat off to all of our farm families of Mississippi. The more advocates they have, the better, because we couldn't do life without our farmers.
Absolutely. And my handle is Mississippi Miss Agriculture USA, all one word.
All one word. It's a big word, but it's an important word, and I hope people will go follow you, Lola. I will be looking to see what you're doing in the upcoming year. I'm sure we'll connect back before the next pageant because I want to give other young girls the opportunity to share in the crown and the opportunity. So Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Thank you so much.
Pretty cool.